Dear students, myself Dr. Fatima Sultana, Associate Professor in Department of Zoology, JDB Government Girls College, Kota. Today we are going to discuss causes of soil erosion. Now what is soil? Soil is the top layer of the earth's surface. It is made up of dirt and rock. It is filled with air and life. A variety of organisms like insects, earthworm live in soil. For plants, soil serves as a storehouse of water and minerals needed for their growth. It also provides shelter to many animals that live on or in the soil. Without soil, there would be no grass, no crops, no trees, no food for us and other animals. So, what do we understand? The top is the topmost layer of the earth's surface and it is full of life. For plants, it is a storehouse and it gives shelter to many animals that live on or in the soil. And without this soil, we see that there are no crops, no grass, no trees, or no food for us and other animals. Soil erosion. Soil erosion is the natural process in which the top soil of a field is carried away by physical sources such as wind and water. It is a process in which the top fertile layer of the soil is lost. Due to soil erosion, the soil becomes less fertile. The top layer of soil is very light, which is easily carried away by wind and water. The removal of topsoil by the natural forces is known as soil erosion. So what we see that soil erosion is the displacement of the upper layer of the soil. It is one form of soil degradation. This is a natural process caused by dynamic activities of erosive agents like water, ice, snow, air, wind, plants, animals, and humans. So, what we see that in this process, the soil particles are loosened or washed away in the valleys, oceans, rivers, streams, or far away lands. This has been worsening due to human activities such as agriculture and deforestation. Soil erosion is a continuous process that occurs either slowly or at an alarming rate. It results in a continuous loss of topsoil, ecological degradation, soil collapse, etc. Now, what are the various causes of soil erosion? Wind, water, overgrazing, deforestation, and human activities. Various agents like wind, water, deforestation, overgrazing by cattle, etc., cause soil erosion. Wind, when strong winds blow, the topsoil along with the organic matter is carried away by the wind. This happens more often when the land is not covered with grass or plants. Such conditions are very common in desert and semi desert regions where strong winds blow very frequently. So what we see that the as I have told you that the top layer is light in weight. The particles are very fine and they are light in weight. So the strong winds if they blow, the topsoil along with the organic matter is carried away. Now, if the organic matter is carried away, we see that the soil becomes infertile. And this generally happens, and it is more often when the land is not covered with grass or plants. This is very common example in deserts. The sand dunes they are not covered with any vegetation. So we see that the sand dunes are they keep on shifting from one place to another because the wind carries the particles, sand particles They displace it. And what is soil erosion? It is the displacement of the top layer. Another factor is water. When it rains in the hilly areas, the soil gets washed away towards the plains. The running water deposits the mineral rich soil in the riverbed, and over the years, this deposition of soil can change the course of the river. This can lead to floods, which cause the destruction of life and property. Water erosion leads to loss of agriculture potential. Now, what we see, if there is rains in hilly areas, the soil on the hill side will be washed away and it will be carried towards the plains, that is the flat areas. Now, this running water will be carrying the mineral rich soil, that is actually the organic layer, that is the fertile layer of the soil, and this will be carried in the river bed. So, what we see, the river bed, it is being covered by the carried out soil which is coming from the hilly region. So, this deposition can change the course of the river, that is the direction of the river, which may lead to floods and various other destruction of life. As you can see here, the rain waters along with them, with the running water, we see that the top layer is being carried with the water. And this is actually the fertile organic soil which is being carried and deposited in the riverbed. Now, what does the raindrop do? When raindrop falls on the land, it splashes, the water splashes, along with it, the top layer is loosened. The force of a falling raindrop can loosen and pick up soil particles. This starts the process of erosion. So, what we see that rainfall is there. If the raindrops fall on the ground, the drop force of the drop will splash the soil. It will loosen the soil, which will be detached and then transported, translocated, and it will be deposited in the riverbed, which will change the course of the river, which again results for the unnecessary floods and destruction of life. Overgrazing, this is also one of the reasons of soil erosion. When cattle are allowed to graze on the same field repeatedly, all the available grass, including the roots, are eaten by them. This makes the topsoil vulnerable to wind and flowing water, leading to soil erosion. The grazing animals feed on the grasses and remove the vegetation from the land. Their hooves churn up the soil. They also pull out plants by their roots. This loosens the soil and makes it more prone to erosion. So what we see that overgrazing will result in the removal of the topsoil, and this topsoil becomes loosened because the grass is removed along with the roots. So it becomes vulnerable to wind and the flowing water, leading to soil erosion. Deforestation. Humans have taken land from the forest to cultivate in order to feed the ever increasing population and to build houses, industries, etc. Cutting down of trees on a large scale for these purposes is deforestation. The roots of the trees hold the soil together, thus preventing the soil from getting uprooted. When large areas of the forest are cleared, the topsoil gets eroded by wind and flowing water. We all know that the roots of the tree hold the soil. The grip of the roots keep the soil gripped. Now, once the plants and the trees are cut for the timber, for the wood, we see that the deforestation results in the loosening of the topsoil, which leads to soil erosion. And when large forests are cleared, the topsoil gets eroded by wind and flowing water. Human activity. This is creating a soil erosion at alarming rate. What we are seeing that the land is being cleared for various activities, for construction of roads and buildings. This exposes soil to erosion. The forest and grasslands are cleared for construction purposes, which exposes the soil, making it vulnerable to erosion. Logging, mining, and construction. These are all human activities. A large number of trees are cut down to carry out the logging process. Trees hold the soil firmly. The canopy of the tree protects the soil from heavy rainfall. The leaf litter that protects the soil from erosion is also lost during logging. Mining activities also disturb the land and leave the soil more prone to erosion. So, what we are seeing, you can see in this photo, logging has removed all the trees from these slopes. This leaves the soil bare, runoff can rush downhill and wash away the soil. The trucks are looking like draft miniature structures because the huge open pit iron mine is very huge and the trucks are looking like drafts. Soil is stripped from the ground layer by layer to remove the iron ore. Earth moving equipment prepares a site for construction. The soil is pushed aside and the land is left bare. Some of the soil blows away even as the machine moves it. Parking lots and other paved surfaces don't allow rain to soak into the ground. This creates greater runoff and erosion. Soil conservation. Now we see that there are various causes of soil erosion. There is a need of soil conservation. Prevention of soil erosion is also called conservation of soil. There are many preventive measures which can be taken to prevent soil erosion. The soil erosion can be prevented by the following ways: afforestation, that is, plant trees, which is known as afforestation. We live because plants live. If the plants die, all living things will also die. Thus, whenever trees are cut down, new trees should be planted. Planting trees in hilly areas are most effective for conservation because we know the benefits of a tree. The roots hold the soil, the leaves help in photosynthesis. Forests are the carbon sinks. They absorb, they take carbon dioxide and give oxygen. Therefore, we see that whenever the trees are cut down, new trees should be planted. And planting trees in hilly areas are very effective in conservation because the soil on the hilly areas are easily washed away towards the plain. Crop rotation. Between harvesting one crop and planting the next crop, the fields lie bare. There is time period when the farmland does not have any crops. So during this period the farmer either grows grass or grows other crops to prevent soil from erosion. This helps the soil to regain the most of the lost minerals. So what we see that between the growing of two crops, one crop is being harvested, there is time for the next crop to be sowed. So in between, if the land is kept bare, there are chances of soil erosion. To prevent this soil erosion, the farmer they generally keep the crop rotation, maintain the crop rotation. That is, they either grow grass or grow other crops to prevent soil erosion. Building dams. Dams are built to prevent floods, which not only damage the crops but also wash away the topsoil. Shelter belts. The cover of plants and trees around the fields also break the speed of the strong winds and protects the soil from being blown away. So these shelter belts are acting like a wall. When the strong winds are blowing, these shelter belts will prevent the area, the soil from getting blown away by the wind. As you can see here, there is a canopy of large trees. Now, when there is wind, strong winds are blowing, the wind filters through the semi permeable upper canopy and reduces the speed. The speed reduces per hour, the speed of the wind will be reduced. So, on the other side, what we see that the faster moving air is kept above the ground level by slowing the moving air. Sheltered area can extend up to 30 times the shelter wood, wood's height. That is the canopy height of the trees. So we can see that they can give shelter up to 30 times. Here you can see the speed of the wind 30 mph. And in front of this shelter belt, you see that the wind has been filtered. The wind is filtered through the canopy and has reduced the speed to 5 mph. And far away 30 times. After also, if we see, it is 10 mph. So what we see that the shelter belts they are slowing down the wind velocity, which is going to help from the soil to be eroded. Terrace farming. In hilly areas, farming is done by cutting steps on the slopes of the hills. This slows down the flow of water and soil removed from one step is deposited on the next step. Thus, the soil is never completely lost. This is terrace farming. Other conservation methods we can see terracing, alley cropping, contour planting, and strip cropping, windbreaks. Contour plowing it helps in prevention of erosion from heavy rains. Terracing also prevents erosion from heavy rains on the steep hills. No-till farming prevents erosion by providing cover that reduces water runoff. Soybeans are a cover crop which restores nutrients to soil. So the type of the crop and the type of the farming techniques can prevent the soil from getting eroded, which reduces soil erosion. The problems caused by soil erosion are loss of valuable topsoil. Valuable topsoil is being eroded by the soil erosion, that is, it is carried away. So we see that there is loss of valuable topsoil. Burying valuable topsoil. The soil, when it gets displaced from one place to other, for example, from hilly area, it is carried away to some river bed where it will be deposited. So it is burying valuable topsoil. damage to fields, and plant productivity is also declined. Desertification is caused. The vegetation, when removed completely, the soil gets eroded and the area becomes desertification, desert like look. Now, if proper measures are not being taken and human activities are growing, which are increasing the soil erosion at the alarming rate, then we can see that the land will be degraded, eroded in the way you are seeing in this picture. Thank you.